Welcome once again to Cleaning Interactive. Now, our next session is about targeted hygiene. Our speakers are Rob James, Head of Sales, Hillbrush, and Lisa Bryan, Client Marketing, Strategy and Communications at Addmaster UK. Cleaning is a fundamental requirement for all companies. With time cost pressures versus customer and third-party audit requirements, there remains a need for all companies to be up to date with the latest technologies, science and methods to ensure their cleaning is effective, efficient and evolving. Rob and Lisa are going to discuss the difference between clean surfaces and hygienic surfaces and how new innovative technology, I need to put my teeth in today, don't I, can help both the food industry and the general public. But before we hear from our speakers, just a gentle reminder to get involved and please send in your questions via the Q&A text box and I will put them to Rob and Lisa. Rob and Lisa, hello, welcome to
Hello.
Interactive.
Good morning, Charlotte.
Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Now, I know you've got a presentation, so I'm going to hand over to you guys.
Thank you.
And you can share your screen and you can take it away.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Share. Hopefully you can all see the front slide. Okay, good morning everybody. Thank you for attending our talk. Myself and Lisa will hopefully spend the next 30 to 40 minutes talking about something very specific but targeted to all your industries that are present today. So First things first, we're a manufacturer of brushes, so that's what our foundation is, and Lisa's more of the additive and bacterial side of things, which she'll bring to life more herself as we go forward. But what I wanted to do is not talk about brushes too much and not wanted to talk about manufacturing too much, but we have got a heritage there of nearly 100 years. And we cross many industries and many sectors, from agriculture through to janitorial, through to even food production and healthcare. So we operate in numerous areas. We've performed lengthy research, more so in the last kind of decade rather than 100 years ago, but lengthy research, and always looking for the next innovation that can come into brushware or cleaning consumables. So I'm just going to move forward onto the challenge area, and the 4 challenges have come from the research that we've had, and this has come from over many decades now, the challenges and the risks. But before I actually go into that and start talking about them, we actually wanted to give a bit of a poll out to the audience and out to you guys to come back and tell us what you think your major challenges within this area, and let's see if we've actually ticking the same boxes as you guys. So Charlotte, if I can hand over to you for to collect the poll, that would be a good point.
Okay, so I am going to launch the poll now. Hopefully you guys can all see it. Please do get involved. So I can read it actually. So which cleaning challenge is your organisation most impacted by? Brush filament loss, foreign object contamination, bacterial contamination, bacterial contamination is in the lead currently, compliance and regulation. So please guys, please do take part in this poll. It's not a lot of effort, you just got to click on one of those. Here we go, the results are coming in, that's what we like to see. I'm not quite sure how long do you want to run the poll for? Now, I wonder, I'm wondering if we can have it running in the background while you carry on.
Absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely. Does that sound like a good idea? Why don't you carry on and we can let it run in the background and it'll give people time to answer. That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for those that have participated in this bit. And I think we'd be very surprised if a certain number on here doesn't kind of outright take control of the poll. And that's quite possibly number 3. But before I go into the challenge and solution, just a little bit more detail. This has helped us with our research and the thought of our innovation. But once this all came in, it was a very, very simple question that was posed by just a member of the brush making team actually, and it was thrown out to those that go into various industries within the sales and marketing team. And it was, how clean is your brush? How do you know? You talk about it working, you're talking about how you can make it safe, but how clean is it? So that's fundamentally where we will be going with this talk today. So I'm going to move on quickly, so I can see the poll is still going on behind. Filament loss is still a challenge within many industries, okay? So it's extremely important in food service and food production, and it's extremely irrelevant, but maybe frustrating for those that work more back of house. So if you're sweeping outside or a floor where contamination is not an issue, then filament loss is just annoying. It's annoying for that person that's using it.
Rob, is now a good point? Is it going to mess up your presentation if we don't? Is it better to say who the results now?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's fine.
That's a good idea. Because if you're talking about filament loss, and I can tell you that brush filament loss accounts for 11% of the cleaning challenge that the organisation most impacted by. Well, the winner is, who do you think the winner is, Rob?
Well, I think it's number 3.
Well, you be right.
Thank you.
It is. 44% have gone for bacterial contamination. Joint second, foreign object contamination and compliance and regulation. Oh, it's gone up. Oh, no, it's gone up. It's just gone up. So actually, foreign object contamination is second biggest concern at 30%. Compliance and regulation is 20%. And brush filament loss is at 10%.
Well, I'm glad that is the case, because it actually would make my presentation a little bit irrelevant if it had been slightly the other way around. So
I thought I'd better say something until you carry on doing your presentation, and then we come back and no one agrees with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you could absolutely be right on that one. So back to filament loss. As you can tell, even by the poll, 11% would agree, and that's it's very industry led, this answer on this one. But then again, we're all a consumer in some shape or form. We're all going to sit in a restaurant, or we're all be in a business or an office, or have a ready meal of some shape or form. Actually, it'd be nothing worse than seeing a foreign object or brush filament actually in that space. You automatically go to, this space is not clean. You know, it could even be, you know, a hotel shower or bathroom. So one of the areas and solutions to this was that over many years we made brushes and you put staples in, and that's great. But what we looked at doing back a number of years ago now is actually look at how can we make the staples that we use more hygienic. So you use stainless steel. How you can't eliminate the risk, but how do you make it an extra line of defense, I think we'll call it. Well, this is actually part of that resin process. So for all of you looking at the screen, hopefully you can see the wiggle down on the bottom of the circle is your stainless steel. The lengths are your brush filaments, and this lighter blue bit in the middle of the circle would be your resin. So the idea of that is just to almost cement and secure all the brush fibers and stainless steel staple actually in place. So I don't want to dwell too much on it, but it's just kind of showing you innovation, how one blue brush could be different to another blue brush. And actually it shows you how it can be cleaned moving forward. So number 2 on the poll, which is quite interesting, because I actually had this down, personally, I had this down lower. The business see it within that top 4 concerns, but actual contamination and foreign body and objects is very much industry led, and it's specific to certain industries, and I can guarantee that council or agriculture not massively concerned with the foreign body side of it. But if you start talking about healthcare, food production, food service, where it's 100% risk of contamination is a major concern, this becomes even more prevalent to what's kind of happening. So again, I'm not going to dwell too much on the product, and I'd hope that none of you have had a ready meal out there, that you've had a bucket in with your chicken chasseur or your jalfrezi. But Metal Detectable is also part of a range of items and products that we do. And this is very much you're the word additive come about. And again, the method detectable is based around that additive put into simple, basic cleaning equipment that can give you an additional line of defense if it fits within your industry. Just pointing at the screen, but the brush that's on there, every aspect of that brush is method detectable. So again, we would use the resin aspect, we would use the staple, and then you've got the method detectable piece. So the aspect of method detectable, filament loss, resin is all about trying to add in additional lines of defense. Nothing that I'm saying here at the moment is revolutionary. Nothing is completely alien to many industries, but actually from a hygiene and food side of things, method detectable and resin are all still relatively new. Now, I'm glad, Charlotte, I'm really pleased that the poll did go in our favour, because fundamentally the core of our innovation technology, the core of the presentation today is based around this fundamental part, and this is about the bacterial contamination. So I'm sure most of you have already worked out, I'm not the scientific brain. I'm not the one with the background to all this biological happenings. But what I can do is talk about how we've taken the problems that we've come across from bacteria, and how we've partnered with a company and somebody that knows a lot more than I do. But what we have been able to do with the bacterial kind of contamination, we've infused an antimicrobial additive and property, which Lisa will talk more about the Biomaster part of this process. And we've partnered with them to actually infuse this additive within a blue brush and various other items. But what this additive will do fundamentally, because it's infused within the brush, if you lose a filament or if you chip the product, because it's infused, it's all the way through. And actually, I don't need to name various bacteria or problems out there, because each of you are from different industries and you will have your different kind of bacteria and fungi that will cause you the major problems according to the industry that you're in. But what we've done and what we've looked at, we've partnered with Addmaster, and Paul Morris approached us a number of years ago to talk very similar about what Lisa's going to talk about now. And we've very quickly became the largest partner with Biomaster in the hygiene industry. Now, I'm sure at some point some question will come in about COVID, and I'm sure there'll be lots of other questions about bacteria as we go along, which I'll direct all to Lisa, by the way. But for now, this particular product and this family of products that we have has seen the largest increase of any product that we've developed in nearly 100 years. And because of how prevalent the pandemic is, and that we're still living and breathing, every industry is looking to how they can add an additional line of defense into their cleaning regimes. So I think it's a good time for me to be quiet now for a bit. And Lisa, if I can hand over to you, and Lisa will take you through the Biomaster and antimicrobial property.
Okay, hi everybody. My name's Lisa Bryan and I work for Addmaster. So Addmaster do additives for industry. One of our largest, the most volume of products is Biomaster, and it's an antimicrobial additive or antimicrobial technology. And we supply this additive to lots of different industries for lots of different applications all over the world. So when we're generally asked about antimicrobial technology and how it contributes to hygiene, our response generally is that hygiene is everyone's responsibility. This technology is not a silver bullet that's going to cure everything, but it is very effective as part of a holistic approach to hygiene, complementing existing hygiene regimes. So, first of all, I really sort of wanted to look at the terminology that we use. And not many people know the difference between antimicrobials or antibacteria. So essentially, an antimicrobial applies to bacteria, fungus, and algae, whereas antibacterial is specific to inhibiting the growth of bacteria alone. So throughout this presentation, I might mention antimicrobial, antibacteria. Essentially, I do mean antimicrobial, and it's defined as a natural or a synthetic substance that inhibits the growth of microorganisms such as bacteria, fungus, and algae. So we use silver ion technology. Silver is a natural antimicrobial. It's used in many industry applications, I've said. It's safe. It's used in food application, food packaging, water. It's RAS approved, so water drinking technology. And it's a really effective way to stop the growth of harmful bacteria, where good hand hygiene is critical in high traffic areas, high risk touch points. So it can be used anywhere, and it's best placed in products where high traffic, high risk touch points. So targeted hygiene, really, for the best possible outcomes for our clients and their clients as well. Thank you. So, gosh, how does it work? So essentially, when bacteria come into contact with a biomaster protected surface, the active antimicrobial agent prevents them from growing, producing energy or replicating. So this inhibits growth. The essential raison d'etre for a bacteria is to replicate and replicate and replicate some more. So the silver ion technology, very basically, because I'm not overly technical either, prevents the DNA from replicating. So the bacteria can't survive, it can't replicate, so it will die away. We can't say it kills bacteria like a bleach or a disinfectant, but the bacteria can't survive, so it will die off. So what you get is this permanent inbuilt product protection against microbes, which guarantees fast, effective 24/7 protection for the lifetime of the product, so the Hillbrush cleaning tools in this instance. It's independently tested to ISO standards, and it's compliant with all global regulations. And this technology helps keep surfaces clean and hygienic to reduce cross-contamination. So we said about doing a poll, actually. Sorry, can we go back one? We were going to do the poll because not many people, we did a similar presentation a few weeks ago, and we did a poll about who knows the difference between antimicrobial and disinfectant, and not many people, not as many as you'd think, knew the difference. So we thought we'd do a quick poll here, if possible, to see who knows the difference between antimicrobial and disinfectant. Can we run the poll, please?
I have just launched the poll.
Thank you. And it'll be a real quick snapshot here. If you know the difference, either yes or no. Please be honest.
I was going to say, that's the thing is you're hoping, aren't you? People are going to be honest about this. So far, yes, 67%. 62%.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's
about half and half-ish, sort of.
I'd say it's more. At the moment, it's 64, 36. It's changing.
Okay.
It's saying 60% yes, 40% no. That's what it's standing at the moment.
Okay. Well,
the small majority say yes, they do.
Okay. So for those who don't know, and this was very much like myself a couple of years ago before I started with Addmaster, if we can move to the next slide, please. The difference between disinfectant and antimicrobial. So a disinfectant, if you think when you're spraying your surfaces at home, with a disinfectant or a cleaning product, they're instantly effective in removing bacteria. But after a few hours, this effect wears off and contamination can occur. In fact, once you've cleaned a surface, if somebody comes in with dirty hands and puts keys down or touches that surface, you've got cross-contamination straight away. The disinfectant won't be effective. However, with an antimicrobial, this reduces the bacteria growing in between cleans and reduces the risk of infectious bugs spreading. So they complement each other. And this is what we talk about when a holistic approach. Having an antimicrobial product really complements existing cleaning regimes. Okay. So the next slide should show a video work surfaces. We don't really need the sound on for this. I'll talk through it. Okay, we have got it. So you can see here we are cleaning a surface with a disinfectant. Within a matter of minutes, bacteria start to spread again on the left-hand side. So you might clean the surface again, but you're actually spreading bacteria with the cloth because bacteria has been picked up off a surface from earlier on and you're spreading it over. So this sort of time lapse shows how bacteria grows on the left, but on a Biomaster protected surface on the right, it prevents the spread of that bacteria, keeping the surface hygienic 24/7. So that was on surfaces, but this is effective really within the Hillbrush cleaning tools and within the product. So how does it work? In terms of timescales, Biomaster reduces 80% of bacteria after 15 minutes, and it's 99.99% effective after 2 hours. Due to a counting of bacteria or CFU, you'll never get 100% effective for bacteria. Even people like Addmaster never get 100%. We are only allowed to claim up to 99.99% effective. It basically means that the bacteria that is left there is sort of not a harmful amount. So you get permanent product protection for the lifetime of the product after 24 hours. So keep in mind, this is consistently working in between the cleaning process. So I really want to move on to going back to the challenge that Rob mentioned earlier about the challenge faced by Hillbrush, wanting to innovate against cross-contamination, targeting hygiene where it was most needed. So giving the clients more confidence in the tools that they were using, if they look clean, are they actually clean? So this task involved identifying the materials that Hillbrush used within their tools, sampling Biomaster grades to match the different materials, and then incorporating these in a sampling process, incorporating them during manufacturing, and finally conducting an independent test. So we don't have a lab here at Addmaster, we do everything independently, and that way the results are the client results. So for Hillbrush really, and I really want to labour the point here on the pedigree of Hillbrush, all elements of the tools have been tested to ISO. So that's the resin that Rob was on about earlier, the actual plastic of the brushes, and the handles as well. So the outcome was really, really positive, and all components showed excellent efficacy, specifically against Salmonella, Listeria, E. coli, Staph aureus, and MRSA bacteria. So through an innovation here with Biomaster, Hillbrush has achieved its objective with the hygiene range, and this can form part of a holistic approach to hygiene, complementing existing hygiene regimes. So the technology in those cleaning tools will prevent the spread of bacteria in between cleaning schedules, and it ensures the environments have improved hygiene. So you get peace of mind for your clients and their clients and consumers as well. But not only that, for the actual cleaners, it means that when the Hillbrush tools have been cleaned and they look clean, the cleaners can have confidence that they're not going to contaminate anything with their brushes. They look clean, they've got the antimicrobial technology, so when they go to use those brushes again, they're not going to be spreading bacteria over a floor or a surface. So really we've achieved the results with Hillbrush to get this fabulously effective hygienic range. So the slide that's up now really just shows Hillbrush have tested against 5 specific bacteria. Biomaster has been tested against thousands of different bacteria. We've got many clients in different industries, whether it's healthcare, whether it's food processing, whether it's retail. So different bacteria in different industries are perhaps more prevalent. So in healthcare, you might get MRSA, Legionella in the water systems. In food processing, you're probably more likely to get something like Staph aureus. In retail, Campylobacter, on the bacteria on the outside of chicken packaging. So these bacteria that can be prevalent everywhere and can cause really nasty results. I mean, Campylobacter is one of the worst forms of food poisoning, and it's probably the most common form of food poisoning as well. So I was talking about the technology and how it's used. It's not a new technology at all. Silver's been around for thousands of years. Addmaster started in 2020, but prior to that, our chief exec decided that he wanted to use silver ion additives, and sort of he was one of the pioneers of this. And so they conducted a 4-month clinical trial, 4-month study, 2 outpatient units. One of the units had got items within that unit treated with products containing Biomaster. So as you can see there, door handles, plug sockets, curtains, furniture, walls. And then the other outpatient unit was the untreated control. So as we would have expected, we got a 96% reduction in the Biomaster treated products, the actual products themselves. But one of the other positive impacts that we didn't really know that was going to happen was because you're in an environment that has got various Biomaster treated products, the reduction in the bacterial load on all those products has a positive impact on the whole environment itself. So we got a 43.5% bacteria reduction in untreated products as well, because there was no bacteria to cross-contaminate, if you know what I mean. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So we talk about, you know, why Biomaster. Hillbrush, when they were presented with their challenge, were looking for a reputable brand. And the reason I wanted to labour the point about this at the moment is there are lots, in the current pandemic, there are lots of these pop-up products saying, you know, we've got the silver bullet, we've got the solution that will cure everything. These processes and these regulations take a lot of money and a lot of time, and you have to jump through a hell of a lot of hoops as well before you actually get approved by a lot of these regulatory bodies. And we're really pleased to say that we're listed on the BPR, which is the Biocidal Product Regulation for the UK and Europe, and generally the rest of the world. But we're also registered with the Environmental Protection Agency in the US, which has different claims to us, and also recognised by the FDA as well, and also accepted by the Food Standards Agency in the UK. So Hillbrush, knowing that we were working with the correct regulatory bodies and we're making sure that the product was all above board and evidence of testing, they knew that they'd selected the right partner in us to work with them. So when they go and present their products to clients, their clients can rest assured that the technology within that is all fully approved, and they're not going to be challenged by trading standards for using a product with an unregulated chemical, for example. So today, whether you've heard about Addmaster or not, hopefully you'll hear more about us in the future. But we work with leading authorities like the Royal Society for Public Health, the International Forum for Home Hygiene, and more recently we contributed to a white paper looking at targeted hygiene, to clean or not to clean, and I think Hillbrush have got that in their resource library. So this was the case for targeted hygiene in home and in everyday life as well. So this was applicable to domestic and to commercial environments. So our CEO is also positioned now as a leading industry expert on hygiene in a consultant capacity, and he's even been consulting with Team GB on improving the hygiene within the Olympic villages and things like that. So he really is a leading expert on hygiene. So we've moved on to examples of Biomaster. You may not have ever seen it before, but hopefully you'll be on the lookout for it now. This is the logo behind me. We work a lot in retail with the reusable shopping bags, people like Marks and Spencer's, Asda, Morrison's, and you'll see that they all have the Biomaster logo here. Basically, the inside of the bags is treated with the Biomaster antimicrobial technology. So when you reuse this shopping bag, you're reducing the risk of cross-contamination. Other brands like Tommy TP, obviously that's for baby and infant changing times. So, you know, it really is a safe product to use. But I talked about the pandemic, and, you know, a lot of our clients are reacting and looking at targeting hygiene specifically in high traffic areas. So more recently, Asda have been applying a Biomaster protected coating on trolley handles and baskets as well. Okay. Also, you can see there we're in domestic products like the plastic casing for the blue toilet rims, wall coverings. This is just a selection. And we're working with obviously larger brands like Dulux for their trade paints as well for people, you know, healthcare environments, education, and so forth. So basically, we work with lots of different brands, well-known brands, not so well-known brands. Some of those perhaps you'll be more familiar with, and obviously the first one being Hillbrush on our list. So thank you very much for that, and I hope I've managed to clarify some things about antimicrobial technology.
You certainly have, Lisa. That was really, really great. And one question I've got for you, which is on the back of the poll, was that if 40% of the cleaning industry don't know the difference between antimicrobial and disinfectant,
yeah,
how hard is it to educate the public?
Well, this is one of the challenges that we face. Our business mainly is B2B, but my role, particularly within the business, is working with our clients, helping market their products, with their resellers helping market their products, all the way down to consumers. So we do a lot of social media for like sort of B2C to try and educate people on what the difference is between antimicrobial and disinfectant, where our products are used more, to try and educate and sort of push back through the supply chain, so people start to recognise Biomaster as a hygiene logo and they request that in their products. I mean, if you were faced with a brush that wasn't antimicrobial and a brush that was, you know, it's a no-brainer for me. You'd pick the one that was, you know, antimicrobial.
And another question as well, pardon my ignorance of this, but I just want to clarify, because he said it's permanent inbuilt protection against microbes for the lifetime of the product.
Yes, yeah. That means, so as long as you have the Hillbrush, whether it's whichever cleaning tool it is, the Biomaster additive is locked into the plastic or the resin of that product, and it's there for life. So when you throw that product away, the silver ion technology is still in that product, and it doesn't affect the recycling of any of the products either.
And so even if it's washed, you know, in high temperatures, etc.
No, it's in the product. Yeah, there's no leaching out. It's actually in the matrix of the product. It's secured in.
Okay. And some other questions that have come in here, which is, so how can cleaning teams best demonstrate to clients the difference between clean and hygienic surfaces?
Well, I think really in terms of demonstrating, you obviously have cleaning regimes. You go into many areas where they've cleaned every hour, and short of having sort of swabbing and doing occasional swabbing and making sure that you know, the bacterial load is reduced, it's just really you know, trying to prove that they've got a really good cleaning regime, and the fact that they've got antimicrobial products there should actually complement that. It's very difficult when you're trying to show clean for something that's invisible in terms of, you know, bacteria. No one can see bacteria, they're not visible to the naked eye. So this is where we've got to be fastidious in our cleaning regimes and using antimicrobial products to help support that holistic approach.
And sure, and so how exactly does this innovative technology, how does it make life easier for cleaning teams?
It doesn't make life easier, but it just gives them more confidence. So for example, you know, it's you've got to have confidence in your products. Cleaners will still have to clean fastidiously. Some products, you know, the design is perhaps more suited for cleaning rather than 90-degree angles. You have softer angles and things like that. But having antimicrobial in cabinets, in flooring, in walls, you know, the best one in the world, you might clean a bedside cabinet, you know, in a hospital environment, for example, twice a day. And then people will still come in and touch that cabinet, whether it's the patient, their family. So if a cabinet's antimicrobial, you're going to be protecting in between those twice a day cleans. Equally with, you know, in a food processing environment, how often are you going to be brushing up, you know, food waste on a floor, and maybe those brushes are only cleaned once or twice a day. So the ability, you know, bacteria can start replicating within minutes.
Yeah. So how long is it? I know you said it essentially doesn't kill it, but it means it can't survive and it can't breathe.
It dies off, yeah.
How long does it take for it to die off? Like if someone touches something.
Yeah. So as you saw in the graph earlier, within 80%, there was within 15 minutes, 80% reduction in bacteria.
Right, yes,
and in 2 hours, within 2 hours, it was up to 99.99%. And obviously once it's there, it will be operating at that 99.99%.
Sure. So would you, this kind of technology is backing up what the cleaning process should always be in place. It's
absolutely, yeah. So, you know, it's giving cleaners, it's not making it easier for them, but it's giving them confidence that when they're using their cleaning tools, they're not going to be cross-contaminating. Yeah. They're not going to be like going to brush MRSA all over a floor, or any Campylobacter or any Legionella. You know, the cleaning tools, they look clean, they know they're antimicrobial, so they're best placed to go out then and start their cleaning regime as normal. Come back, clean the tools, they're left overnight or whenever, or they're used throughout the day. Yeah.
And so are you finding that these cleaners, that they are embracing this new technology and they're keeping pace with these changes to their sort of working practices?
I think Rob might be best answering that one.
the working practice, well actually that's part of the
guys, so I keep doing so can we do you want to end the slide? So I keep meaning to say at the beginning, and I get so busy chatting to you guys I forget to say let's end the slides, then we can actually talk to you.
Charlotte, can I just quickly just put the last challenge on there, and then
yeah, sure.
Back over to you. It won't take long because actually the challenge 4 is also probably a solution with the industry. So I'm not surprised that Paul brought this up as a concern. But actually, how can we help the process? Lisa's quite rightly said it. This is an additional line of defence. It's not going to clean floors or surfaces for somebody. It's not going to eliminate all risk. It's an additional line of defence. But actually, how can we help those responsible for it? Well, it actually comes into compliance and regulations. Those that audit or have responsibilities within whichever industry that we all belong to. That's how we can help and support those that are using the facilities or cleaning the facilities. What we kind of go into then is something it's embedded within the food industry, but is very limitedly used across all other industries, especially service environments. So color coding is an absolute way of doing that. So that's why I talk about it's a solution. It's also a challenge, but it's a solution. But also then you come into shadow boards, where you've got that workplace organisation, which actually has got the antimicrobial additives in as well. So again, how can we make it for those that are actually responsible for looking after whichever premises or facility that we operate in? How do we make it easy for them? Well, we color code it. We use shadows of product that should be, left after the cleaning regime. It's not propped up on the floor collecting more bacteria or grime, or you're searching for it because somebody's left it outside and it should be used inside. So the workplace organisation and colour coding is part of that solution and support the auditing process and the regulation process in there. There's nothing in regulation saying that you have to have antimicrobial or bacteria-led products, but why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want something that's going to add another line of defence into what is already a troubled topic, spread of bacteria and the use of more use of disinfectants than probably ever before during this pandemic. So it's as I said, this is more based around that solution. There is we are kind of offering out to new customers, and not that there's an opportunity, but that'll be in the pack, so please have a look at that. But it's a little bit, hopefully, before we take it off and hand over to Charlie, it's almost like a blue brush is a blue brush. Why not make it more innovative and take that technology and take that more of that risk away from the environments that we work, eat, sleep in, or even from healthcare side of things as well. Why not use that basic rudimental consumable equipment? Why wouldn't you pay extra attention within that area, not just the disinfectants or the machinery that we use, which is very much what the talk has been about for some time now. I will stop sharing the screen now, Charlotte, and hand over to you.
Thank you. I mean, I think to be honest, you asked the questions there. There's a few questions that came in which you guys have answered. It was really great, really, really interesting. Thank you so much. Oh, hang on a second. There might have been other questions popped up that I've missed. Here we go. Deb Smith, has the Addmaster technology been tested for efficacy against non-enveloped viruses?
We've actually done some, it's antimicrobial technology first and foremost. The silver iron technology, Biomaster, has shown some efficacy against norovirus in porous surfaces, I beg your pardon, paper and textiles. So we're actually doing testing at the moment against feline coronavirus. You can't do testing commercially against the COVID-19. So we are testing against similar format viruses. We've had some efficacy on porous surfaces. On non-porous surfaces, the tests have been a bit inconclusive because I think after 72 hours, a virus, because it needs a host, it will die off anyway after a certain amount of time. So that's still ongoing at the moment.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you both for a really interesting presentation. It's been really, really great. Thank you so much for taking part in Cleaning Interactive.
No problem.
And just to let the delegates know who are watching that next up, we have Steve Courtney from Toucan Eco, who is going to talk about revolutionizing the way we clean and disinfect with hypochlorous acid. Steve is going to demonstrate Toucan Eco, which is a bio-cleaner. That means you can stop using 80% of chemical cleaners and get rid of single-use plastic bottles that they come in. Now, just to warn you, this session has a slightly different format. It's a pre-recorded video. You can still answer questions, but you have to, so you type the questions in as normal, but instead of being myself or Steve there to answer them, he's going to type the question. So it's like a Q&A via text, if you like. And so please do it while the video is playing. Steve is there in the background also watching the video, and he will be able to answer your questions via the Q&A chat. I hope that makes sense. So that is starting up at, let me just quickly check my schedule. Oh, we've got a lunch break. How exciting. We've got a lunch break, and then a cup of tea for me. I'm gagging for a cup of tea. And then at 12:15, don't forget to go to the indie stage and then click join, and you can watch the video and ask questions during the demo. And then Steve will answer them. So I hope that all makes sense. Thank you again, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Charlotte. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks.
Bye now. Bye.
Bye.